Let's go Rams! We're counting down the hours until the start of the new season. And honestly, I have a really good feeling about this year. I'm already dreaming about the Rams lifting the Super Bowl 61 trophy. That game is scheduled for February 14th, 2027, and I can already picture the Rams being there. Who will our opponent be? Well, whoever it is, the Rams need to prepare themselves to get there. Today, I want to talk about Tim Keenan III and also about the benefits that canceling minicamp could bring to the team. I'm going to tell you all the details in just a moment, but first, make sure you've hit the like button. But only do that if you've been a Rams fan for more than 20 years. And if you believe we can make it to the Super Bowl, write this: Go Rams! We're going to the Super Bowl. Let's start by talking about the topic everyone is discussing. The Los Angeles Rams may already be preparing for the future of the NFL without saying a word. This offseason, the Rams joined several other teams in canceling their mandatory minicamp, giving players an early break before the start of training camp. While the move initially seemed insignificant, it may actually signal where the league is headed. According to Matt Verderame of Sports Illustrated, the NFL is moving closer to a possible 18-game regular season. If that happens, the NFL Players Association is expected to push for reductions in off-season workload, with organized team activities and minicamps being the most likely areas for change. As Verderame noted, teams like the Rams, Broncos, and Buccaneers have already shown they can operate successfully without using the entire off-season schedule. For Los Angeles, the decision reflects the confidence in the culture that has been built within the organization. Rather than relying on every available off-season practice, the Rams appear comfortable giving players extra recovery time while maintaining their preparation standards. If the league eventually expands to 18 games, many franchises may have to adjust their approach. The Rams, however, may already be ahead of the curve, positioning themselves to adapt quickly to any changes that may come. What do you think, Rams fans? Was canceling minicamp a smart move by the Rams, or would you rather see the team take advantage of every possible training opportunity? Now let's talk about Tim Keenan III. His journey to the Los Angeles Rams is one of the most fascinating stories from the team's 2026 draft class. Not because he arrived as a highly touted first-round prospect, but because every step of his football career required patience, persistence, and an unwavering belief that his opportunity would eventually come. When the Rams used the 232nd overall pick in the 7th round of the 2026 NFL Draft to select the Alabama defensive lineman, they weren't just adding another athlete to the defensive front. They were bringing in a player whose career has been defined by overcoming obstacles and proving his critics wrong. For Rams fans looking at the roster and wondering who could emerge as one of the most intriguing developmental players over the next few years, Keenan's story deserves attention. His path to Los Angeles was anything but conventional, and that may end up being one of his greatest strengths. What makes this story especially interesting is how long-standing Keenan's connection to the Rams organization seems to be. Long before hearing his name called in the NFL Draft, Keenan was already wearing a jersey bearing the Rams name. During high school in Birmingham, Alabama, he played for Ramsey High School. Looking back now, it feels like a fitting beginning for a player who would eventually make his way to the Los Angeles Rams. Even at a young age, Keenan showed flashes of the talent that would later attract NFL attention. During his sophomore season at Ramsey High School, he recorded 50 tackles, including 10 tackles for loss and 5 sacks. Those are impressive numbers for any defensive lineman, especially someone who was still developing physically and technically. Rather than slowing down, he continued to improve during his junior season. As a junior, Keenan registered 43 tackles while adding a remarkable 21 tackles for loss and 8 sacks. Those statistics demonstrated his ability to disrupt offenses behind the line of scrimmage and become a major force in the middle of the defense. Opposing teams had to account for him on every snap. His senior season did not go according to plan due to injury. While Ramsey High School made a run that ended as runner-up in the 2023 Alabama 5A region, Keenan was unable to fully participate because of an injury-shortened campaign. Yet even with limited opportunities, he still managed to produce 22 tackles, 6 tackles for loss, and 4 sacks. Those numbers reinforced a growing belief among many coaches and observers that Keenan possessed significant potential. However, not everyone was convinced that his path to the NFL would be easy. In fact, some scouting evaluations at the time suggested he was still a very raw prospect who required extensive development. One of the more notable evaluations came from Barton Simmons of 247 Sports in March 2020, before Keenan committed to Alabama. The report acknowledged several strengths. Simmons noted that Keenan played with effort, commanded attention along the interior defensive line, and showed an ability to locate the football through blockers. But there were also concerns. Questions were raised about his length, explosiveness, burst, and overall versatility within different defensive schemes. Perhaps most notably, Simmons projected Keenan as an undrafted free agent at the NFL level if his development failed to accelerate. That projection could have discouraged many players. It could have become a label that followed them throughout their careers. But Keenan's story would ultimately become an example of why projections are not always destiny. Around that same period, Ramsey High School head coach Ruben Nelson offered a dramatically different perspective. Speaking to AL.com in December 2020, Nelson praised Keenan's impact and highlighted qualities that statistics alone could not fully capture. According to Nelson, Keenan dominated against larger and often more talented programs. He anchored the middle of the defense and consistently performed against high-level competition. More importantly, Nelson pointed to Keenan's work ethic and preparation. He explained that Keenan arrived at the program already ahead of many of his peers because of the training he had received from his family. That foundation allowed him to develop quickly and establish himself as one of the most respected players on the team. Nelson's comments now carry even more weight, considering how Keenan's career unfolded. When the time came to choose a college program, Keenan decided to stay close to home by attending the University of Alabama. It was a decision driven by more than geography. Alabama had developed a reputation for producing elite defensive linemen who successfully transitioned to the NFL. Players such as Quinnen Williams and Darren Payne represented the type of career path Keenan hoped to follow. Watching those players emerge from Tuscaloosa and become professional standouts provided motivation and a blueprint for what could be possible. Yet arriving at Alabama and becoming the next great defensive lineman were two very different things. The early portion of Keenan's college career was extremely challenging. Many fans only remember players once they become stars, but the reality is that Keenan's first 2 seasons with the Crimson Tide were largely forgettable from a statistical standpoint. He appeared in only 2 games during that span. For a player who entered college with aspirations of eventually reaching the NFL, that lack of playing time could have become a major setback. Weight management reportedly played a significant role in limiting his opportunities. Instead of allowing frustration to consume him, Keenan made a decision that would change the course of his career. He embraced a different mentality. Rather than focusing on what was not happening, he focused on what he could control. He committed himself to improvement and continued working, despite having little evidence that immediate rewards were coming. That decision paid off in a major way. The breakthrough finally arrived during the 2023 season. Keenan emerged as a key contributor and recorded 38 tackles, announcing himself as a legitimate presence along Alabama's defensive front. For the first time, he was beginning to show the player many believed he could become. The performance was significant not only because of the production itself, but because it validated years of persistence. After barely seeing the field during his first 2 seasons, Keenan had transformed himself into an impactful defender for one of college football's premier programs. Then came 2024. Instead of treating his breakout season as a one-year success story, Keenan continued building on it. By the time his final seasons at Alabama arrived, Tim Keenan III had completely changed the narrative surrounding his career. After struggling for playing time early on, he became one of the Crimson Tide's most trusted defensive linemen, playing in all 13 games and starting 12, while recording 40 tackles, 7.5 tackles for loss, and 2.5 sacks. His steady production and reliability earned the respect of coaches and teammates alike. That respect was reflected when Keenan was named one of Alabama's permanent team captains, a significant honor at one of college football's most prestigious programs. His leadership became even more important when an ankle injury forced him to miss the first 3 games of his final season. Despite the setback, he returned and finished the year with 16 tackles, 2 sacks, 2 fumble recoveries, a forced fumble, and a blocked punt. Now, after overcoming adversity throughout his college career, Keenan begins a new chapter with the Los Angeles Rams, bringing with him the same determination and work ethic that helped him rise from reserve player to respected team leader. What do you think, Rams fans? Can Tim Keenan III eventually develop into an important piece of the Rams' defensive line rotation? And what are your expectations for his rookie season in Los Angeles? Don't forget to subscribe, leave a like, and click the video on your screen. For the latest Rams news and updates delivered first, this is the place you'll want to be.